students, a very good morning. So students, in last class we were discussing about the Ascent formula and capillary reaction. So I think that is all clear to you. So let's discuss now the next topic after the capillary reaction. And here one more thing students, the Ascent formula and descent formula. Means we have seen that in some of the cases there is the rise in the level of the capillary tube, and in some cases the liquid that is falling in the capillary tube. So the fall in capillary tube or the rise in capillary tube, up to which height it will rise, that is for the formula that is known as ascent formula. Up to the high depth it will fall, that is known as descent formula. Both formula will be same as it is, so we can calculate it by that. Now after this one, here the next topic is rise of liquid in a tube of insufficient length. So some of you will answer that liquid will fall down if the capillary tube is that has insufficient length, but that is not the case. You can see it by experiment by yourself in your home. So here why it is not falling, you can understand it as we have the formula for the Ascent formula, that was 2s upon r rho into z, where r is the radius of meniscus or rho is the density of liquid, as is the surface tension. That formula we have derived in the last class. So in this formula, the factor that we can have now, h into r. So if h into r, you will see that is equal to 2s upon rho into g. Now you can see 2 is already constant, s is constant for a liquid. Suppose one of the liquid we have chosen, that surface tension is constant, its density will be constant, gravity at n, and that is already constant. Means all these factor that is constant for a particular liquid. So if h into r that will be constant, it means that whenever the RH that will be greater, means if rise in the liquid of the tube that has insufficient place is had to rise up to the height h, but it is not able to rise, then that time to just make this product h constant, the meniscus of the liquid that starts to increase there. Means meniscus of the liquid that starts to be flatter. Like if its meniscus is we are obtaining in this curvature form, this starts to become more more greater radius. So you can see now it starts to become more flat and flat. Means if the tube is of insufficient length, then suppose only the tube that has up to this length, and it has to just rise up to this height, and it doesn't have that height, then that time the liquid that maintains its whole of the liquid without falling by changing its meniscus. So it is changing simple the radius of this one, and even for a particular time you can see that is just like the flat one. So simple h into r that will become constant. So this is very clear answer for this. Wherever the rise in the liquid that has insufficient length, then for that case the meniscus, radius of curvature of the meniscus of liquid, that will change according to that one. Now next concept after this one. So very small concept but very important concept that comes in our mind always. So some of you will think that liquid will fall down, but it is not going to happen that. Now next, variation in surface tension. Now what are the factors that are affecting the value of surface tension? Now as in the variation of surface tension, on which factor it is affecting or depending on, the first factor that is affecting the surface tension, that is the presence of impurities. So the first factor here that can vary the surface tension, that is presence of impurities. So presence of impurities either on the liquid surface or dissolved in it. Any kind of impurities will impact on the surface tension of the liquid, and considerably affect you can say the surface tension also, that is depending on the degree of contamination. So what is the degree of contamination? It is depending on that. So if a highly soluble substance like sodium chloride when dissolved in water, then that time it increases the surface tension of the water. So whenever the very highly soluble substance is dissolved in liquid, then that time it increases the surface tension. But the springly soluble substance like petrol, when dissolved in water, then that decreases the surface tension. So this is now the contamination property, that is very important property here for the understanding of the variation of surface tension with presence of impurities or the impurities that is dissolved in it. So whenever it will be highly soluble, then that time the surface tension will increase, but if it is not soluble, then that time it will decrease the surface tension. Now the second factor on which it is depending on, that is temperature. So with the increase in temperature, the surface tension of the liquid that decreases. So the surface tension of liquid is zero even at its boiling point and vanishes at critical temperature. Later the concept of critical temperature in next chapter we will discuss again. So first it means that here the surface tension that starts to depending on temperature. If greater will be reason, I can just tell you by, on the basis of intermolecular forces. So whenever the temperature will be greater than that time, the kinetic energy of intermolecular or molecules that will starts to increase, and due to that one they will starts to increase their relative separation. So whenever the separation between the atom that will starts to increase, then that time relative intermolecular force will decrease and the surface tension will decrease there. So this is the reason for the variation in surface tension with temperature. So these are now the factors that is varying the surface tension. Now the next one after this one, if you will see the next concept of the detergent and surface tension. So here means how the detergent is affecting the surface tension. So you have seen that the dirty greasy stain on the cloth cannot be cleaned by simply washing the cloths in water. So and we need here, or that is so because the water does not find in contact with the greasy dirt and hence cannot wet the such surfaces. Hence the angle of contact for the greasy surface, that is obtuse angle, and that's why whenever only the greasy surface that is washed by the water, then water and greasy surface their force of adhesion that becomes less in comparison to the force of cohesion of greasy surface. So they are not reacting, that's why we cannot wash the greasy or cloths by only the water. If we will add now the detergent or soap to the water just like the impurity, then that time the greasy dirt from cloth can be easily cleaned, which has or explanation you can understand. So explanation is now the molecule of soap or detergent are hairpin shaped. So it just like the nail, you have seen such kind of shape the detergent or the soap has. Now whenever soap or detergent that is dissolved in water, then the head of the hairpin shaped molecule get attached with the water surface. So if the head that is attached with the water surface and its greasy surface that is or the whenever the clothes that with greasy surface that dipped in detergent or soap mixed water, then the pinned end that attached with the greasy surface of the or the greasy molecules of the cloths, and it means that here as a result you can see there is an interface that is created between water and greasy surface now whenever we have added the detergent. So exactly detergent what it is working here, it is just creating an interface between water and greasy surface, because whenever the detergent was not present, then that time the water will not reacting with the greasy surface, that was not finding any contact with that, but now it is able to find the contact through the detergent, and then if you will wash, then easily the greasy surface that can comes out by the help of the contact here. So this is now the you can say the very valuable addition of impurities in our daily life that we are using here. Now let's see the next one after this, application of surface tensions. So in the applications of surface tension, number of applications are here. Like first application, just now this soap and detergent one you can see. Since the surface tension of soap solution that is low, it can spread over large area. So hence it can wash clothes more effectively. Hot soap solution proves still better as surface tension decreases further on heating. So it means the knowledge of surface tension we are utilizing in our daily life, just like in soap and detergent cases. So soapy and detergents have less surface tension in comparison to any other. That's why we are using them to wash our clothes here. Now next one, for the same reason, surface tension of all lubricant oils and paints are kept low. So if you will keep the surface tension of lubricant or oils as low, then that time due to their low surface tension, they can easily spread over the large area. So if it will means the angle of contact will be acute angle for that case, and if it is making acute angle, then that can spread easily, and due to spreading property we can even use this kind of oils whenever we have to spread it over the large area. So always some soap, detergent or the lubricant oils that we are constructing, we are making, we are just producing them, then that time we are always keeping in our mind we have to keep their surface tension low so that they can used in the wide area there. Now the third one, the oil is sprayed over the surface of the water as the surface tension of oil is much smaller than the water. So you have seen sometimes whenever you are putting even one drop of oil on water, it can easily spread over the large surface area. Reason the oil has smaller surface area tension. Now stormy waves at sea are calmed by pouring oil on the sea water. So if on sea water, if you will pour the oil that there, then they becomes calm because of the decrease in the surface tension. Now next one, in soldering, addition of flux reduces the surface tension of molten tin, hence it spreads. So on the whenever you will sold or add to some increase some flux, then that time easily the molten tin that can spread. So simple, these are all the examples of the knowledge of surface tension. Means if we have to use it for the wide area, we have to keep it low. If we have to use it for the smaller area, we can keep it high. So these are the information about the application of surface tension now. So this is I think now clear. Now after this one, students, let's see our next topic after that. And with this topic of the surface tension and its application, one more things we have covered now, that was hydrostatic. So in hydrostatic, students, number of things we have discussed, like what is pressure, what is the variation in pressure with depth, what is hydrostatic paradox, Pascal's law, Archimedes principle, after that surface tension, and a capillary action, a lot of things we have discussed. That is I think all clear. Then let's now discuss the second part of the mechanical properties of fluid. And in first class I have told you the mechanical properties of fluid can be understood by the two ways. First is with the help of its hydrostatic concept, means whenever the liquid that is at or fluid that is at rest, and the second one, the whenever fluid is in motion, that is hydrodynamic concept. By using these two concepts we can understand it very clearly. So let's now start to discuss our second one, that is hydrodynamic concept. So in the case of hydrodynamics, here by name it is clear. Now our whole of the fluid that will be in dynamic condition, that will start to move. So whenever it will start to move, then which kind of property it will give us, we will study it here. Which are the principle that is explaining it, that we will discuss here. And all which of the phenomena it is we are just observing in our nature, that will also we will discuss. The first concept of hydrodynamics that we will start now, that is from the concept of viscosity. So viscosity is what, just like you have seen, the surface tension is the property of the liquid at rest, That in the same way, or like the fluid at rest, in the same way viscosity is the property of fluid whenever it is in motion. So these are very basic property of the fluid. One is appear whenever the liquid fluid at rest, and the second one will appear whenever it is at motion, or it is in motion. Then what is now the viscosity property? So you have seen that obviously uh, viscosity property we are observing whenever the liquid starts to move. So as you know, every molecule that is in the state of rest, but suddenly if it starts to move, then that time its state of motion will start to change. So due to change in its state of motion, obviously uh, the relative motion will start between the different liquid molecules. And even you can divide the liquid molecules in different layers, because along one layer the pressure will be same, along to second layer it will be same. So a liquid is moving in different layers here. These kind of layers it is moving this way. You can understand, liquid, whole of the liquid can be divided, means number of molecules that is lying in the same horizontal line, that is in one layer, another layer, and so on. So up to some height if we have liquid, or up to some depth, we can divide it in a number of layers. And we have seen all different layers are moving with different velocities now. So their viscosity can be understandable by two ways. The first way is by this relative motion between different layers, and the second one simple by the motion of the liquid. So first let's see by the motion of the liquid, after that I will tell you this one. So whenever you know, every molecule has two types of basic property, elasticity and inertia. So due to its inertial properties, it try to restore, it try to just maintain its its state, its energy. Due to its elastic behavior, it's try to maintain its configuration. But whenever the liquid starts to move, or the fluid starts to move, then that time its configuration as well as the energy storage, that is changing there. So it will try to oppose any kind of change due to its these two properties, inertial properties and elastic property. So if as it is opposing, then an opposition force that will comes into the play whenever the liquid start to be in motion. So due to change of its state of motion, the liquid starts to apply some opposition, or you can say liquid starts to oppose the motion of the liquid by the application of internal opposite force, that is now known as, you can say, or that is understandable as viscosity. So viscosity is the property of the fluid by virtue of which an internal frictional force comes into play when fluid is in motion in the form of the layers having relative motion. So it appears at the relative motions of the different layers. So first one I think clear. Now let's see the second concept that just now I have just to read here. Second concept is, whenever liquid that is moving in layers, then every layers are moving with different velocities. So as they have different pressures, they will move with different velocity. So and it has seen that the upper layer that is moving with greater velocity in comparison to the downward layers. So as the first one has the greater velocity in comparison to the second one, suppose it has v plus dv velocity, it has v velocity. So its momentum will be obviously greater than this one. So as the two bodies that have different momenta, they will try to conserve the momenta, they will try to make constant momenta. So it will, the second layer will try to regain some of the momentum so that it can balance itself to this one. And the first one will try to just apply some force to increase the motion of this layer. So it means that the second layer will try to retard the motion of first one. The first one will try to increase the motion of this one. Means they are trying to oppose each other's motion. So due to that one, an internal you can say resisting force, or that or here that or the frictional force that comes into the play whenever this kind of relative motion between the layers that start to present. So this is our reason of viscosity. Now it always oppose the relative velocity or relative change in the state of its fluid molecules. This is I think clear now. So here viscosity, that is also we are knowing as fluid friction. So you should have, that is clear. This is just like we having that friction that is opposing the relative motion between the surface of contact and the body. In the same way, the viscosity in the liquid or the fluid friction, that is the frictional force that comes into the play due to relative motion between two layers. Here the relative motion that will be between two layers, and in that case the relative motion was between two different bodies. One is the body, second is through which surface it is in contact. Now it is, I think, clear. Now let's see how can we derive the expression for the viscosity now. So to understand or to derive the expression for viscosity, take a fluid that encloses between two parallel glass plates as shown in figure. So we have suppose two parallel glass plates now. This is one glass plate and this is now the another glass plate. Suppose this glass plate is fixed now. We have fixed this glass plate, and here this glass plate that you are seeing, that is free to move now. So this can slide, but this one cannot slide. First, this is the property of glass that we have taken. Now next one, if you will give some velocity to this upper topmost layer that can move with some velocity v, it starts to move, and in between this the liquid is contained, or liquid is already, the liquid film is present. Means two of the plates, this kind of two of the plates you have, and in between these two plates liquid is present, and you are just sliding it over this one. So whenever you will slide, then that time the shape of the liquid that will also change with the change in this one. So suppose due to this velocity, its position it changes, and its position it changes up to this point. So this is point PQ. Now suppose this becomes point P dash Q dash. So you can see this liquid, that's position will start to change now. Clear, I think. Now you can see the layer of the liquid in contact with the top glass, that will move also with the velocity v. As you can see, the downward layers that is remaining at still, but the uppermost layer that is moving with greater velocity here, and obviously the layer that is in contact with the fixed plate that does not move, that is remain there. So it means that the velocity is 0. So you can understand by this one, the velocity of different layers is different. That's why we are seeing such kind of shape. The velocity of this layer will be greater in comparison to this one, and continuously it is decreasing, and it becomes 0 near the fixed glass plate here. So it means we can say now a relative velocity that is acting between them. So it is clear. Now as experimentally you will see, it is found that the flowing liquid, the stress is proportional to the rate of change of strain or the strain rate. So here it is different from solid. In solid case you have seen stress is directly proportional to strain, but in the case of fluid, stress is directly proportional to rate of change of strain. This is the difference here. And the what is now for a flowing liquid, the rate of change of strain or the strain rate, you can calculate strain rate by the rate of change of strain, and this is given by now change in shear strain to the time interval in between them. Time interval. So here as suppose now change in shape that is equal to here delta x, and also the whole of the length of this one, that was L, and you can also take this PQ that was equal to, or P dash Q dash that was equal to L, and the time taken by it, that is delta T. We can write change in shear stress. So that can be given by now change in length upon original length. This concept we have discussed in last class already, and this is now time interval, this is delta T, and we can write delta x by delta T, that is rate of change of displacement. So this is now the velocity. This can be written as velocity by L. Now we can calculate shearing stress, and shearing stress you know that is given by F by A. Now we can give the definition of viscosity. So coefficient of viscosity that is given by shearing stress to the rate strain rate. So this is V by L. This is now our new concept that we have arise and through which we can understand now the viscosity. So students, today up to only this one I will discuss. In next class we will discuss the rest of the things of the viscosity in very brief, in very detail. For today let's end our class here with this discussion. Thank you students.